Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome to a talkie video that was inspired by, at the time, some recent controversy that has gone down within the beauty community, which is kind of sad because I feel like during this whole outbreak thing, we've had like a lot less controversy, which I'll live for. I don't need to be stressing about anyone else's problems but my own. But something happened that made me sort of want to open up a discussion and delve a bit deeper into the concept of gatekeeping, specifically in the beauty community. Now, what gatekeeping is you have people who are in the community that like to police other people's activity within the community. It's sort of this exclusatory, you can't sit with us sort of thing. It's really rude, it's really pretentious, and it's really stupid. But it's also something that is really prevalent. So, I am going to talk about some experiences that I have had personally and that I have seen and experienced within the gatekeeping whateverness. I also asked y'all on Twitter what you have experienced or see as gatekeeping within the community. I will be addressing those as well. Obviously, y'all are probably wondering or may know what incurred the desire to curate this video. And that is all of the controversy surrounding the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Cremation Palette. That shiz got teased, that shiz was revealed. Everybody lost their minds for a plethora of different reasons, most of which being on the aghast, horrified, and upset side of things. I've definitely seen more hate than I have positivity for this launch. As someone who is a fan of his eyeshadow formula, as someone who is a somewhat review-based channel, I wanted to review that shiz. I posted on my Twitter, and after posting that, I lost about, I want to say 15 to 20 followers, which, I know that's inconsequential. Follower amounts don't matter. But it's kind of one of those things where I was just putting whatever out there and it just became this like unfollow. So that's what sparked this whole thing. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but let's just go down and have a little discussion about the makeup gatekeeping that I have seen that I consider to be toxic within the community. Okay. One thing that may be a little bit thick, obviously I don't have a degree in this. This is just my personal assumptions, opinions about what I've experienced. But when people in a rude fashion comment on how much or how little makeup you have or how much you spend on it. If there's one thing the internet likes to do, it likes interjecting its opinion. There is a certain amount of safety in the whole, I don't even know how to, anonymity? The fact that you can be anonymous online and you're not actually talking to someone face to face make people get a little bit more gumption in them. And it's, kind of like a smaller thing when people are all like, oh, well, you shouldn't have that much makeup, or oh, you don't have enough makeup to be a YouTuber, to be a beauty guru. How can you? There've been a couple channels that I watch that have like smaller, more reasonable, more realistic collections than I do. And I've had some nasty comments that are like, how are you able to talk knowledgeably about makeup when you don't even have that much? And then kind of on the other side of like, oh, you have too much. I remember there was this one time I posted a picture, I think of all my Kat Von D palettes, and I had someone who I was friends with on Facebook who was all like, oh my goodness, you bought so much, you could have bought a car or a house. And it was done in this like, I don't want to say condescending, but it was done in this sort of like way that made me feel bad about what I'd done. Like they were basically like, your purchases are stupid. Why are you buying this when you could have done this? And I was like, oh, okay. I think that's a lot less gatekeeping than trying to police how much someone has and what they're capable of doing based on how much or how little makeup they have. Someone having A crap ton of makeup does not denote knowledge, experience, or talent within the beauty whatevers. Sometimes it just means you buy a lot of stuff. Which is why it's always so I have issues with, like, I mean, I know I have a huge collection, but when you get the huge collection and it's made to be normalized and realistic, and like that's what you need to be a makeup aficionado, you need to have all the stuff. That's not true. And the fact that it's getting normalized and pushed and people are shamed when they have a channel and they get shamed for like not having enough. It's like, really, people? Really? Okay. Another thing that I feel adds a lot of toxicity to something that's supposed to be a very good cleansing, purging, helping thing, but declutters. If I remember to, I will link my video talking about why declutters aren't necessary and can be toxic. But when you're going through and you're filming your video and you get rid of 5 highlighters and someone in the comment is all like,
well, you didn't declutter half of your collection, so how dare you call this a declutter? You should have entitled it a collection video. You're misleading and you're triggered. Bleh.
It's like declutters are subjective. People get rid of what they want to do. It is very personal to them and their own preferences and collections. It's very toxic to assume that every time we declutter, we need to get rid of 50 to 75% of our collection, because then you just go in and you fill it up. Declutters are meant to remove things that you're not using, that you don't like anymore. You know, it's not this need to just get rid of everything, because that perpetuates the need to buy more. And when people get so like, well, you didn't declutter as much, it's like, go declutter your own makeup. You know, you declutter 50% of your stuff if you want to see it happen. I mean, come on. Whenever there's just all this like judging and like inserting yourself into someone else's life, it's like, you're not living through them. Well, apparently you're trying to, but let them declutter however much they want. It's their stuff. They spent their money on it. Ain't no one else need to tell them what to do with it, so they can decide what they want to keep and what they want to get rid of. And I mean, it's not a like, what's the word, clickbait. If they say thumbnail, I mean, if they say declutter in their thumbnail and in their title, if they declutter one, because they're going into this video with the intention of looking and seeing what they can get rid of. I just hate that. That one really, really upsets me when people assume to know things about a stranger and get upset. I mean, like I said, go declutter your own collection if you want that satisfaction. Okay, this is one that I've seen a couple different of my friends here on YouTube deal with, and this is something that I've had some, I don't want to say nasty messages, maybe a little mean-spirited, but when people discourage multifaceted channels. We're talking the sort of thing like, you know, I started out as, I don't even know what I started out as. I have developed into a mainly beauty channel. As of recently, I'm trying to go on into fashion. I still want to like do other things that aren't necessarily completely related to makeup. You know, I do some commentary like I'm doing right now. And sometimes you get messages, you get people who are all like, well, you should just stick to being a beauty whatever. You're better at that. Or I think Smoky Glow had someone who was all like, well, you should just stick to commentary. You're not that good at makeup. I'm like, what? You know, I hate it. One thing I hate about gatekeeping is when it tries to police and censor someone else's creativity. I hate that. I hate that. Makeup for me is self-expression. I do this because I want to look ethereal, otherworldly, and vaguely threatening. And it's fun. It's therapeutic. You know, I like me and I like whatever, you know, and I don't need someone telling me that I suck at makeup and I should do commentary or I should do makeup. You know, it's like discouraging. Like I said, I respect channels that stay to one thing. I'm like, well, it's kind of like I respect people who are able to stick to one fashion aesthetic. I'm like, wow, they've got so much commitment and willpower. Whereas for me, I'm like interested in too many things and too excited to share things with y'all to stay to just one thing. And so when people are like trying to tell you what you can and can't do with your own content, I mean, that is a whole new level of conceited and privileged and whatever. And I hate it because it discourages, you know, creativity, I feel, because it's your platform. You're allowed to do whatever. Like if you're a beauty platform and you want to be all like, well, I'm going to start posting, pole dancing tutorials, more power to you. Do what you want to do with your platform. Express yourself in what way you want to. And the people, see, it's so easy. If you don't like the commentary content or you don't like the other, don't watch it. It's so easy. Wait for a video. I've had so many people tell me, they're like, well, I won't be interested in watching this video. I still love you, boo-boo, and I will watch the next video. It's so easy. Just don't watch it. Okay, this one is kind of funny. It's just like, I've experienced this a couple of times, but Swatch shamers. People who shame you for swatching things terribly. People who shame you for not swatching things. Now, it's one thing to be constructive. I had one of y'all were like, well, if you do la 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 la, it'll make it better. And it has. I've gotten better at my swatch game. But if you have people who just come on here and are like, well, your review of the palette is stupid because you didn't swatch everything correctly. You swirled your finger half an inch in the pan, and that's not going to show the true pigmentation of the palette. This palette is amazing, and you know absolutely nothing of what you're talking about. At that point, I'm just like, oh, okay, sorry. And then when you have the people who are all like, you know, the difference is we're like, you know, if I'm doing a video and someone comments, you know, it would have been a little bit more informative, a little bit better, I think, for me, if you had swatched said product. Rather than someone who says your video is crap because you didn't swatch the product. Kind of goes into that whole thing, you know, being anonymous on the internet means you can say whatever the flip you want. Which is great, free speech, yay! But it also kind of exposes the fact that there are a lot of jerks out there in the world. And so whenever you're just trying to go about your day and you're trying to do a swatch and someone tries to police the way that you do a swatch, it's just like, really? Really? You know, I'm not, you know, I am a little booty guru. I'm not making millions on this platform. I'm not raking in hundreds of thousands of views. Just let me and my crappy swatches be alone, okay? Okay, this next one kind of goes hand in hand with a couple of the gatekeeping things that y'all said on Twitter. What I wrote down was visual expectation, beauty guru glam uniform. And a couple of y'all said Instagram makeup being the only valid face, Insta brows. And there is a lot of beauty gatekeeping when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to when people have a certain expectation of how they think makeup should look, they judge people who do not have that sort of makeup. One of the reasons I know that I've looked at demographics and done all kinds of whatever, why I'm not as popular as I would like to be, it's because I do not present visually like a typical relatable beauty YouTuber. I represent and look visually like a crazy alternative person. And that can be off-putting. You know, I don't do the cut crease, I don't bronze, I don't look all kinds of glowy and you know, that kind of, I mean, you know the look that I'm talking about. And so, you know, when you don't have that sort of look, people judge you on, you know, your appearance, your ability to be someone I feel who does like crazy. I'm okay talented. I'm like I keep saying, I ain't doing Botticelli's Birth of Venus on my eyelid. But I feel like if you notice that people who are exceptionally created and they're doing Botticelli on the eyelid or they're doing SFX makeup and crazy, they don't get the same hype, the same clout, the same whatevers as someone who's like, all right, I got the bronze and I'm gonna do like a little whoosh, and that's it. I'm not saying that's a bad way to do makeup. I just gatekeeping myself. But when that is the only form of accepted visual representation in the beauty community, I do take object to that, because for me personally, makeup isn't, you know, oh, let's change my face and whatever. Makeup is self-expression. It's artistic to me. It's taking what I feel inside, how I want to look, and representing it physically. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, back when I had shaved off eyebrows and I was kind of just like, woo, I have no idea what I'm doing. I had so many people that were like, your eyebrows are trash. And I was kind of like, you're not wrong, but you don't have to be rude about it. You know, and it's just like, this is where there's a whole thing. This is also goes into one really bad gatekeeping thing where it's makeup shaming, where if you don't have, perfect makeup or makeup that's done in a certain way, you are somehow less than those who have like full Instagram filtered beat. Because, there's that fine line between, yeah, you could have done your eyebrows a little bit better, to if they feel beautiful and they're happy with how their makeup looks, who am I to judge and begrudge them their happiness? Like, it's really not my place. If someone asks for my opinion, they say, hey, what? And I'm like, yeah, they could have come in a little bit more like this, a little whatever, blend whatever, but if not, and they feel bomb diggity and beautiful and they popping it, good for them. You pop and drop that shiz. The automatic assumption and entitlement that we are allowed to judge other people on absolutely nothing is disgusting and hideously toxic. I mean, if they ain't hurting anybody else, you wear what you want to wear, you do your makeup how you want to do it, there's no rule for being a human being. Well, except for maybe certain moral and whatever. For representing your flesh prison, there is no rule or standard of how you should look. Just do you and be fantastic about it. Stop judging people on the internet if they feel pretty about themselves. I mean, this world is full of so much like I said, who would begrudge someone that it's like when you like something and you're like, I like this thing, and people are like, well, that thing's stupid, and you're like, oh, let them like the thing for Pete's sake. Okay, this next one is self gatekeeping, where you've kind of internalized these sort of tropes that are, enforced by, people commenting, by the community, by what you see, by what you witness, and then you kind of express them onto yourself and your own experience without even realizing it. One thing that I've noticed is very prevalent. I've done it a couple times. I can't tell you how many YouTubers I've seen do it, but when you come on camera and you're not all made up, or you're doing a video that's like vlog style and then you accidentally show yourself and you're like, I look ugly! Like a little bit of healthy self-deprecation, I feel is just, within us, it's innate. But when you're going on, you're just like, sorry, I have no makeup, my hair is a mess, I'm in my pajamas, no nails, it's accepting and perpetuating the fact that on this whole whatever, we have to be immaculate, which we don't. I can't tell you, I always get like the shed a little grateful tear when I do videos like this, and y'all like, you look so pretty. You look like you're not wearing foundation. I'm like, oh, I love you all. You guys just made my day. And we're all self-judging. I mean, that's something that we do, but when you're literally, you're apologizing for existing, basically. Like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry I don't have super crazy nails, extensions, and full beat microbladed brows. I'm sorry that I look human. It's like, there is no need. I've tried to correct myself with doing that because sometimes I do. Why am I apologizing for not having nails? Why am I apologizing for, not being, I'm me, I'm here, I'm whatever. I shouldn't have to apologize for not wearing a full face of makeup when I don't want to. And you don't have to. It's just sort of this innate forced narrative that we have to always be like full beat, cut crease, contour, lips, Kylie Jenner-ness, or else we're not viable. It's like, just be yourself and the people will come who want to watch you and love you. This is the unrealistic bit. I love the difference between, like Instagram is like, YouTube is like, look how I look at this, and y'all want to see me how I really am, you follow my Snapchat, and I'm like, I just ate a pound of pasta. Just be you, and we shouldn't have to apologize for being human people. This perfection is the perfection on YouTube is fake. Okay, we've reached this point. This video is gonna go longer than I thought. For all of you who've made it this far, yay you, leave a gold star down below. I love y'all. But what started this video, as I said, with the Jeffree Star cremation palette, one of the gatekeeping things is brand shaming as well as product shaming. You aren't allowed to like them. You aren't allowed to buy from them. Now, this is a difficult situation because everyone has different morals of ethics. Everyone is different. There is the concept of, well, separate the brand from the person. That's really hard to do with Jeffree Star because he's the face, the cosmetic brand is him. And the same thing when Kat Von D was the face of Kat Von D. You kind of can't separate the person when that person is the company innately. And I struggle with this because, like I said, I really wanted to review that whatever, but I don't know because I know I would get a lot of flack for it. And it's one thing to have a discussion, a respectful discussion about a difference of opinions and potentially agreeing to disagree than it is saying, I have made this decision about this brand, this company, this person. And I'm going to put the distinction that if you buy anything from them or, you showcase them on your channel, you're a bad person too. That isn't something that's fair to do. I mean, yes, you can be like, all right, I don't feel so whatever about that person, but we shouldn't get to the point where our own, like I said, agreeing to disagree doesn't mean I hate you or you hate me. Whereas when it comes to this brand shaming and brand buying, who you're allowed to like, who you're not allowed to like, there is no agreeing to disagree and being okay with it. There's you buy from this, you're a crappy person. I can't remember what video it was, but I had someone commenting that was like, woo, sister repping a lot of problematic brands. I hope this is a fluke. And I think I talked about probably KVD, the brands that I talked about in there that I thought would have been the problematic ones was KVD, Jeffree Star, and Too Faced. And okay, we got the problematic thing there. The one thing I want to know, for everyone who has decided that Kat Von D, Huda Beauty, Too Faced, and Jeffree Star are all problematic, do you not buy from Jeffree Star and do you buy from the other three? Or do you not buy from Too Faced because you're so offended by what they do, but you buy from Jeffree Star and Kat Von D? Is it a complete turnaround for everyone getting so upset at someone who chooses to spend their hard-earned money? I mean, that's one thing. It is none of anyone else's business to discuss or, what you spend your money on. Do not judge someone for being all like, oh, well, they're stupid for spending their money. It's their money. It's their life. It is not your right or your God-given whatever to judge someone. I mean, yes, you can have your opinions on, you can just say to yourself, okay, they're purchasing from that company that I don't like. You can have an opinion without being a jerk about it and being all like, well, this person is a bad person because they're buying from this company that I don't personally like. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. That's how you've decided to live your life. It does not mean you need to impose. You can express it. You can be like, well, I've had so many of y'all who are like, personally, I don't support this dude. And I'm like, okay. Which is why I like to try to give different options. I can't tell you how many people have asked me, is there something that's similar to the blood sugar that I can get? And I'm like, yeah, there are. If you don't want to support him, here are these options. But don't impose, don't be a jerk about like, well, you purchase from this person, so you're awful. When people talk about, like I go on whatevers and, when people use non-cruelty-free makeup, I'm not all like, oh my goodness, they're killing thousands of bunnies. I'm just like, okay, that person has decided, they don't want to be, they buy non-cruelty-free makeup, and that's their prerogative, not mine. I'm not going to be all PETA up in here and be like, you are the spawn of Satan because you buy non-cruelty-free makeup, because I am not their judge. It is not my place to tell them how they should be. And I feel like on the internet, not just in this community, but on the internet, that has become, people don't think, oh, maybe it's not my place. They're just like, and so it's just kind of learning. I mean, it's learning to not be a jerk, learn to express your feelings and your views and your whatevers without being nasty, you are just promoting the same negativity that you advocate so much against for, because of this person. You're just perpetuating a cycle of, like I said, negativity, this cycle of shaming and hating on people. And just like I said, we no longer agree to disagree. We no longer agree to have cordial discourse. It's just this whole situation. And maybe I'm a little butthurt about the situation. I don't know. I try to be so respectful of all y'all who don't have the same views or the same whatevers as I do. For the longest time, a lot of y'all weren't buying from Kat Von D. I know a bunch of y'all don't buy from Jeffree Star. But at the same time, I'm allowed to be myself and make my own decisions. I am accountable for those. I have to answer to myself. I don't have to answer to anyone else. And so I'm still undecided. I'm thinking about getting it, or at least trying to get it. If I don't get it, I'll be like, okay, all right, that, I won't feel bad about it, but get it and kind of have not so much a review, but a discussion where I can offer different options to y'all. We can kind of discuss the controversy, the color, whatever, and everything like that. Have a discussion, a civil discussion, without just going out and being like, this whole situation, is it in poor taste? Yes. It is. Is it also a little bit of reaching for some of it? Yes, it is. It goes both ways. And people are allowed to have a different opinion about the same thing. All right, I'm gonna cut it there. I honestly have enough whatever here for me to do a second one of this. Definitely let me know if y'all would like to see that. Let me know. Gatekeeping that you have experienced. It's not something that I've noticed excessively until recently, where I'm like, wow. Just the toxicity within the community that people think is okay. And I was raised a certain way that you treat people the way that you want to be treated. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. If I don't agree with someone, I click out of the video. I don't take time to comment. I don't take time to dislike. I'm like, okay, they're different. Boom. So definitely let me know what you think about this, what you think about my thoughts, whether I'm off my rocker. Obviously, I love y'all. Let's have a discussion down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you. And as always, keep it real. Mwah!